Welcome to YoungHollywood.com.
Hi, I'm Craig Young for Young Hollywood. I'm here with Jerry from the band Devo. They've got a new studio album, 19 years in the making, I believe.
20.
20?
It's been 20 years since we released a record.
A studio record. There's been a couple of live recordings and stuff.
That's true, but not new music.
Well, for those that aren't familiar, 20 years ago, you guys were one of the most defining acts of the 80s. And you kind of have a unique style about you. Obviously, the very visual with the hats and, very, I guess, kind of pop art, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, we were actually kind of multimedia and performance art before people had those terms, those labels. But that's what we were doing. We were ahead of our time then, and now we're not. And we're in our time now, and there are a lot of bands that I love that have cited us as an influence. They're current and, big hits like the Ting Tings and LCD Sound System and Santee Gold. And what's cool is that you hear elements of Devo in that music, and so there's a taste for our style again. And here we are, the first guys that did the style.
Came here with Mark, also from Devo. He's going to show us around his recording studio here.
This used to be filled with all MIDI gear, but now that we're using computers, there's like a couple stray sad things. Like here's an old Mini Moog that got midified, and now it's just sitting there all forlorn, lost. It doesn't get used for anything now. There's a lot of guitars in this building. There used to be more. There's a lot in storage now. There's probably 100 in storage and about 75 here somewhere. In here there's a lot of circuit bent things. Right? But oh yeah. Titanium. That's our Devo suit. This is called a Putney VCS. I paint during the day. I have about 300 and some books, I don't know how many, that are full of stuff that I've drawn and painted, and some of it done in Photoshop, mix it all together.
So how did the idea for the hats come about?
We kind of like that geometric look, and so I remember we sat and drew that at a table in Jerry's house, and it just looked good on our heads, and it helped make us look more alike. We liked the idea that we looked like 5 matching, like pieces of a engine.
Now, 20 years is a long time between albums.
When we were in the record industry before, we were kind of this odd band that had their own outfits and their own, slang and their own way to think about the world. And we were talking about de-evolution. We were saying things were falling apart, watch out. And the big difference is back then, people in the 70s, people would say, oh, you're just being cynical, you have a bad attitude. And now it's like if you talk to people about de-evolution, people pretty much go, yep, things are devolving, and they just kind of accept it at this point.
So tell us about the evolution of Devo. How did you guys get started? Some 30-odd years ago?
Yeah, Jerry and I met at Kent State. We were both in the art department. So Jerry came over to my place and we wrote music together. And he was a bass player in a band, and I was a keyboard, synth kind of experimental guy.
And you were definitely, paving the way for acts today like Lady Gaga, and that are kind of having that sort of
we were part of that. Yeah, we were definitely part of a art band. And so we thought of Devo as being this art project, like an agitprop group where we could blur the lines between commercialism and fine art. That's it. Thank you for visiting our studio here, Mutato Musica on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood.
Hey, this is Jerry from Devo. Thanks, Young Hollywood, for visiting our studio today. See you soon.